Hey everybody, thanks for stopping back in and welcome back to my little shop. For anyone that's been watching these videos, appreciate it very much. I hope you enjoyed that real fancy intro I had made. That website Fiverr is great. You can go on there and basically, put in what you're looking for, like animation, or you can get people to write songs, do production work, artists, that kind of stuff. Anyway, for a very small sum, I think it was $15, you can get these digital things made. Pretty cool. Things you learn every day. Anyway, yeah, so today's video is actually going to be an unboxing and review. As you can tell, I dressed, my Sunday best, literally in the Sunday today, for this review. I'm kind of rushing this one because honestly, I kind of want to get it out of the box and get using it. It's a new Makita saw. So I've been using, I guess I started with a Delta miter saw that was like a 10-inch non-sliding, which I still have. It's down in my shed and I still have it strapped to like a, fold out legs that I can use. So when I'm building a lot of times outdoors, I just grab that. I've got a Ryobi sliding 10-inch that when I was trying to make bowl blanks before I had a bandsaw, I got a chunk of wood caught in that and it flew up and bent the arbor on it. Of course, I still am throwing that saw away because, we got to keep as many spares as you can imagine. And then so I ended up buying a Mastercraft 12-inch sliding saw, sliding miter saw. And I've had that one for probably about a year now. And that's just the, for us Canadians, it's just a Canadian Tire brand. So it's, a made in China kind of brand. It's okay. It had like a little laser line on it, which was kind of cool. That lasted till the first block of wood went flying and it knocked the little housing that holds the laser. It doesn't run the smoothest. The arbor's not the smoothest. Like the bearings in it aren't that great. Yeah, so it's kind of a mediocre saw. And typically, when I'm making, like, say, cutting boards, I glue up everything in 4-foot panels, basically. And then from that, I then cut them down. So I typically use my chop saw to actually cut my cutting boards to length. So having a saw that can do a good job and also not wobble is very important, because it just ends up meaning so much sanding for me to try to get any kind of little blade wows as it's cutting, especially I find with sliding ones. As you slide off and the blade will kind of sort of jiggles basically, and so you end up with these either burns or saw marks on one side of the cut. So with like a hardwood, multi-laminate cutting board, it ends up becoming a lot of work. So you have to go up to like a pretty heavy grip because you're on an end grain to try to smooth that out. And then when the things with sanding is when you sand, it ends up rounding a lot and changes the look. It's a whole thing. Don't get me started, as I've already started. Yeah, so with this season being pretty much at an end, other than a few orders, I was actually trying to rush an order out today, which is why I'm in the garage. Don't worry about if you wreck them clothes. So I got that order kind of out of the way, and I've been looking at this giant box taking up a good chunk of my garage, dying to get into it and get this saw out. And then for now, I'll basically strap it to a setup that I have for the other saw. My goal being this winter is to remove all this junk you see in behind and build a miter station. So a couple of base cabinets, integrate the saw level with the top, and I'm kind of on the fence of top cabinets. Probably going to go with lumber racks because I almost need more flat storage of lumber more than anything else right now. I've got a lot of kind of oddball cabinets around that I've got, giveaway stuff. Yeah, so let's, I guess I don't even know if I can see it in the shot, but there's this giant box. Yes, I guess you can see the top of it. And behind me, so I'll move the camera and we'll get this bad boy open and hopefully I can get this thing out of the box on my own. But worst case, I'll, pull something, but we'll get it up on the table so we can see it better. So bring it back. Okay. Hopefully my head's not chopped off in this shot. I can't really see it, but no turning back. All right, so right off the bat, we've got fancy dust bag, although not branded, surprisingly. You'd think this would say Bosch on it, but that's all right. We've got a small set screw, which I'm assuming will go in the handle. Let's pick it up. Got hold down. Let me get to the bag so you can see it. Got a hold down, which I'd like to say I'll use, but we all know I probably will never, and I don't think anybody typically uses these, but nice to have if you need it, I guess. Longer stock if you're working alone, that'd be pretty handy. We've got the manual, which I'll probably never read, but you never know. I'm going to try to square this up, so I may have to look at the manual now. A giant piece of styrofoam. Don't see anything in there. I don't think there's going to be an easy way to do this. This is going to be a dead lift no matter what we do. Okay. Oh boy, that's heavy. Okay. Well, we got it out of the box. That's a start. Let me get it moved over to the table, and then I can maybe move that camera and catch my breath. Oh, jeez. Beautiful. All right, let me just move the camera. All right, hopefully you can see me in this. Yeah, out of the box, I actually got it a little easier than I thought. Here's what we're looking at. So now if I can get all these chunks of foam out. There's one. And where is the vertical lever? There we go. No, is that not it? Okay, the slider. Ooh, that travel's nice. I haven't quite figured out how to unlock the vertical yet. And I refuse to go to the manual quite yet, so. I'm super impressed with how well that glides. I think I've got to do this guy here, so I'm gonna just get it snips here, hang on. There we go. Hooray, we found it. Took a little bit of jiggling on the way, it looks like. But overall, I don't think I can complain. So yeah, so as you can see, probably the biggest thing about this saw, my God, I can't get over how it moves, how well that moves. Good gravy. Yeah, so right away I'm very impressed with just how unbelievably smooth this comes in and out compared to, I mean, maybe my last one's not a comparison because of the price. I think this guy, I want to say it was around 7 something, I think was kind of where it was in that range. Whereas I think the Mastercraft one on sale was probably a couple $100, $250 maybe, something like that. But just sliding alone, I can't get over this, how well it moves. So yeah, the biggest advantage for me is that it'll sit flat against a wall. So especially if you're building a mitre station, the issue I have, even with the one I have now, I've got it on a kind of a rolling set of actually IKEA cabinets that I got, and put a spacer in between to fit the miter saw. So it's a rolling cabinet, but the whole cabinet has to be almost a foot away from the wall just to make room for those glides that come out the back. Something like this, you can build it into the wall, bolt it down, and not worry about it again, because there is nothing moving backwards. So basically, instead, you have these large hinges that fold up. And man, I wish you guys could feel how smooth this is. Any of the miter saws I've ever owned, maybe because they've all been low budget miter saws, you can almost feel the ball bearings moving when you're sliding it in and out. And this is unbelievably smooth of a glide. There's a dust bag attachment here on the side. I'm going to hopefully pipe this to a shop vac, maybe even on a switch. There's a little flexible dust grabber down here, which I hope you can see where my hand is. Yeah, I'm almost like a loss for words just on how well it slides at this point compared to what I'm used to. So bevel lock is lever up. Oh, I think I've got to put this in somewhere. I've forgotten about this guy, which I'm assuming goes in the end here. Let's. Indeed, that is correct. So it's trigger up to rotate, and then a tighten down, which, you know, pretty standard. On the side, it says lift bevel lock. It doesn't lift that easily. Oh, I think I got it in the lock position. Maybe not. Okay. We'll have to look that up, because it says push lever down to lock. That definitely feels locked. Pull up. Oh, no, I guess I just wasn't getting enough force. So this is the tilt for 45 degrees. And I believe it'll go the other way as well if you flip it on the other side. So again, I very rarely, I don't think I'll be doing a lot of like crown molding cuts with this guy. This is really, the intent of this was strictly for the, mainly for using for cutting boards, even just cutting down stock as I do. Yeah, the plates here near the blade are actually adjustable, so you can try to get it, I guess you can try to get it in almost like a, the word's escaping me, but like a, so that you can get as tight to the blade as you can. They are plastic, so you can probably get pretty close. I don't think I will get them close enough to actually make cuts into them. Zero clearance. There it is. So yeah, I may actually adjust them down for that. What else do we got? Oh boy, it's just so many things. Look at that. Table extensions. Super fancy. That's kind of a cool feature in itself. There's cables actually, so you don't lose these, which as well extend out. I would like to put them in pretty close to the blade though, because again, for me, I'd rather be more on the blade than anything, the stuff that I'm cutting. But nice feature to have. Mats and everything here stuck in everything. Very nice. Not as heavy probably as I thought it was going to be once I got it out, but I am so head over heels in love right now with how easily, like, listen, there's like no noise. There's no sounds of ball bearings. Hopefully you can hear this. That's pretty amazing. The great question now is going to be, is it square out of the box? That would be very lucky for me. Let's see what I have here that I could maybe cut the end off and check it. Let's get plugged in first, I guess would be the first order of the day. I do happen to have power right here for now. First things first, let's hear it. Oof, way quieter. Feels almost like a slow start. Like maybe a soft start. It's not much quieter, or sorry, not much louder than a vacuum, which in itself is pretty impressive. Let me grab some wood here. I don't know if you guys can still see me in shot, but as a reference. There's the cheap one. I do have a panel here. I think it's got a maybe I should use the extension here a little bit to add a little support. Very nice. Now the question is, do I even have a square edge on this to measure against? But yeah, let's give her a whirl and see what the blade. I will probably swap the blade for a better lathe, but for now, we get the idea. Stock blade leaves a little bit desired, but that's okay. Now can I find a square? We've got a square. Now this is older than God, but it should hopefully... Yeah, I think I'm a touch... Actually, that's probably the wrong edge to check. Actually, no, I think we're good. That is pretty square for out of the box. I think that's actually pretty decent. I may still do a couple of checks and adjustments, but... Got a small combo square here, but... It might be a touch off, but just a smidge. I'll have to do a little bit of tweaks to that. So that's the lock, eh? Yeah. Well, I'm thoroughly impressed, and I mean, it doesn't take much, I guess, to impress me, because I only made one cut. Part of that is when you use cheap tools your whole life, when you get something that's a little bit more closer to like a pro tool. It's probably still not pro, this would be semi-pro. You know, it's no Festool saw or anything like that. But it's such a night and day difference of quality. Like I say, just the slider alone blows my mind how smooth it moves. Smooth moves, that should be the name of this saw. Yeah, I guess it's going to be a quicker video than I expected, because it's really, you know, not much to unbox. It's completely assembled out of the box except for the one tightening screw, so not a lot of assembly needed. And it's ready to rip. Now, it'll be interesting to see how the dust works over time. I've seen people that have done a few little modifications to this. I may look at doing the same. It's all going to kind of come down to how I build out the cabinets that I put in with this saw kind of integrated. That's going to be probably the determining factor, because I'm going to try to make it so it fits the saw as tightly as I can and make the most use of the space, because I really don't plan on ever replacing it. So yeah, so here's hoping I can figure all this out. Yeah, let me just move this camera again here. So overall review. I mean, it's a pretty limited use at this point. A couple of test cuts. I'm head over heels in love with the the glides on it. That alone is such an upgrade from anything I've ever owned. It'll probably take me a while to fall out of love with that part alone, but you know, who's to say. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a run here for, you know, start using in jobs, and we'll see. how bad it is as far as square. I'm going to probably have to do a little bit of tweaking. It seems like it's off, but over 10 inches, it's the gap is probably less than half a millimeter, so not severe, but I'd still like to get it as tight as I can to perfectly square, especially using it for cutting boards and that sort of stuff. For just chopping down stock, it doesn't really matter so much. And I will probably obviously put a better blade in it that's in it already. Where I'm typically only ever doing cross cuts with it, I'll go with a very high tooth blade just to get a smoother cut, which is typically what I've done up to this point. It's got kind of a combo blade. I'm guessing probably a 60 to 80 tooth on there at the very best. So I'll up the blade count, or the tooth count will up quite a bit. Yeah, and then I'll maybe do a little report back. So yeah, thanks for sticking around for this quick one. Hope you guys are all doing well, and as we're getting closer, I hope you guys all have a good holiday break, and we'll hopefully see you guys all again in the new year. Take care.